Well, that was a little fun and weird. Yeah. We about to be some writer's block. According to Wikipedia, writer's block is a non-medical condition in which an author is either unable to produce new work or experiences a creative slowdown. Writer's block has various degrees of severity, from difficulty in coming up with original ideas to being unable to produce work for years. And on dictionary.com, the definition is the condition of being unable to think of what to write or how to proceed with writing. I do have moments where I experience this, but I like to say it's not writer's block, it's the creator blocking themselves from writing. Because if you wanted to write, you would just write. No matter what comes out on paper or whatever you're writing with, you would just write, no matter how good or bad it is. Some reasons a writer may experience writer's block are perfectionism, and that can just be like you want to write something, but you want to write something good. You don't want to be in the phase of like writing you don't like the rough draft phase of stuff. You don't like just writing whatever comes to mind and then revising after the fact. It's like whenever you want to write something, you want it to be good as soon as you have the idea and want to start writing. Not enough experience or knowledge on a certain topic that you're trying to write about. With the experience part, it could just be that you've been, like, I can use myself for example. I was staying in the living room on the couch for long periods of time. Now that I have my son, I haven't been going out as much, and it was getting to a point where I wasn't knowing what else to write. A lot of the things that I was writing was similar every time I wrote, so I was like, yeah, I need a new experience. I need to get out of the house. I need to get out of the living room. So I started going to the park and journaling, writing there. With the knowledge part, see, I write poetry, so it's not really a lot of knowledge, more so experience with the poetry and the feeling. But if you were writing a story or something and it was set in a certain location that you didn't have much knowledge about, that could be something that is preventing you from writing and giving you that writer's block. It could be distractions. It could be the lack of ideas to write. Like I said, sometimes I'll just be sitting there not knowing what to write at all. But it could also just be the type of mindset you're having or the type of mood that you're in. I've had moments where I've just been in a bad mood. I let somebody put me in a bad mood. I mean, I don't want to put the blame on other people or anything like that, but sometimes you might get into it with somebody and now it's like, now you've allowed yourself to get in this funk and you don't want to do anything that you enjoy doing. I've had moments like that. So those are just some of the causes or reasons a writer may be experiencing a writer's block. Now, as a poet, one way that I've been overcoming writer's block recently is by making these blackout poems. Taking a piece of existing work and putting your own unique spin on it is a great way to get yourself in a creative flow. It's an easy way to get yourself in a creative flow, and even easier doing a blackout poem. It's like you don't need to come up with new words and ideas because the words are already there for you. But even with that, sometimes I get bored and it's like, I don't want to take some existing work from someone else and create something from it. I want to create my own artwork. I want to write my own original poem. So another way I've been overcoming a writer's block is by using cards. I have this card game for couples. It's called Let's Get Deep, Questions for Couples. And I've only used it for what it's actually intended for a couple of times. But beyond that, it's just been sitting in my closet. One day I was wanting to do some journaling and I found myself in that, creative rut, creative block, writer's block. I found myself in that position and I didn't know what I wanted to write. So I was just sitting there thinking like, okay, I know I want to write something, but I don't know what to write. I don't know where to begin. I don't know where to start. And, it just randomly dawned on me, you know what? I got these cards here. I can pull a card and journal from what card I pull. So you don't have to, with the cards, you can use cards like these that are for like card games with questions on them. But you can also use oracle cards. I've done that as well. I even have videos on the channel where I've used oracle cards to create or write something. So you can pull a oracle card to do that. You can make your own cards and pull from those, which is something that I am going to be doing soon. So, just for an example, I'm just pull a random oracle card here. I think I pulled, in my video where I use these cards, this is one of the cards that I pulled, Fall in Love with Your Own Story. So I would use this to give me like some guidance or inspiration, or kind of like a little prompt to get me started on writing something. So if I was having writer's block right now and I wanted to use these cards to help me, and I pulled this card, Fall in Love with Your Own Story, I would just write about an experience that I had that maybe, I guess, shaped me in a way, that maybe an experience that was traumatizing at first, or like hurt me, a heartbreak or something like that, and I learned from it and grew from it, and I fell in love with that story. That's just a quick example that popped into my head. If I was to use that card. Now, if I was to use one of these cards with the questions on them, there's 3 sections in these. There's a deeper, and then icebreakers, deeper, and then the icebreaker ones. I usually don't use the icebreaker ones because the questions on there is like ice cream or cake. And, I'm not going to really journal about that. You can if you want to. But so here's a random card, one of the deeper ones, and it says, what is something you want to do together that we haven't done yet? Now, again, this is actually a card game for couples. So technically, when I pull certain cards like this, I tend to not use them. But for this one, you could use it, just take it out of a couple's context and put it individually. So what is something you want to do that you haven't done yet? Instead of what is something you want to do that we haven't done yet. And you could write and journal about that. The good thing about journaling is if you go over your journal entries, and if you're a poet, but even if you just write stories or anything, any other creative projects, reading those journal entries can spark creativity, spark your imagination to write a new poem from that entry, which I do a lot as well. Another good thing you can do is collaborate. So sometimes you just can't come up with the ideas on your own, and you just need another head. What's the saying? 2 heads are better than one. So sometimes you just gotta, get with somebody else to help get those creative juices flowing. So for example, using myself, I was doing this this challenge where I was writing a song every week, and there was I think it was the very first song I did actually during this challenge. It was one of the first songs. I wrote the first part of the song, so the first verse and the chorus, but I got stuck after that, and I found myself having this creative block, or this writer's block, and didn't know what else to put in the song. I couldn't come up with the next verse. Sometimes I just can't come up with the chorus, but most of the times is I can't come up with that second verse, or the bridge, or the ending verse, the third verse, whatever. And I was like, okay, I need to call in some help with this. So I asked my friend Josh, he goes by Kanoa as his artist name, or his stage name, whatever you want to call it. He ain't on the stage yet, but he will be one day. So I hit Kanoa up and asked him to hop on the song, and so he did that. There was a couple actually that he got on, and we've done this on my songs, on his songs. We've done this with poems. So he's had me on some of his poems. I think I've had him on one of my poems. I'm not quite sure, but that's a way to help get those creative juices flowing. As I said, just having somebody else come in and help you with some ideas and inspiration. So it would be like, once I would send the song to him to add his verse on, and he would send it back to me, I would listen to his verse, and then that would inspire me to, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, it's helped me. I want to say this now, or ooh, can you say this on here next? Or, you know, it can even give inspiration for another song or another poem. And collaborating doesn't even have to be literally having somebody else hop on your project with you. It can literally just be asking a friend or family member or even a stranger to just give you an idea or a prompt or, you know, some random words or something to create something with, and you challenge yourself that way. It could be, an example, if you was on YouTube, you used to see those videos where people would be like asking my subscribers to, or how would they word it? My subscribers picked my next song. My subscribers picked my next poem. My subscribers chose my next outfit or whatever. You could do something like that as a way. So have your subscribers or your followers or whatever give you a scene, give you a word, give you a sentence, give you a concept, give you an emotion, give you an experience or something, and you can use that as your prompt to begin writing something. And even with those examples, like, I know it can still be hard to, especially like when you're having this block because of perfectionism. So you want to write something good, and just writing something random, you don't feel like that's good enough. So you just have to keep in mind, in order to beat this writer's block or whatever, you just have to write. You can't be focused on whether it's going to be the greatest thing you've ever written or not. You just have to write. Sometimes you just feel like you just don't have anything to write. Maybe you did a lot of binge writing the previous day, and now today you just feel like you're, overwhelmed, or maybe you're burnt out and you just need to take a moment, a breather or whatever, to relax and rest. And I've had moments like that as well, where I've done a lot of binge work, and then another day comes around where I want to work on something, but it's like, well, what do I have left to work on? You know, I don't know what else to do right now. So I just maybe need that could be a moment where you need to go out and have another experience again. So sometimes you just may need to split your work up. Just work on little parts at a time, little bits and pieces at a time, or give yourself a certain time frame to work on things instead of just binging everything all at once. Just like with this example and with these videos I'm doing, I've decided that I'm going to split these videos up into parts instead of just doing one long 20-30 minute video sharing ways to overcome writer's block or creative rut or whatever. I'll just do it in a series, and that way, basically with doing it in a series, I don't shove all the information in one long 20-30 minute video, and I'll have content to work on consistently, which helps with consistent uploads on the channel as well. Writer's block and creative block are one and the same, and I still say the same. It's the writer and the creator blocking themselves. There are many ways to get yourself out of any type of creative block or rut, and I'm going to be sharing the ways I've been finding help me out most in a series of these videos. So if you're interested in more ways to keep yourself in a creative state, preventing those blocks, subscribe to the channel and watch this video next to see me use, let's use the card example. I don't know which side it's going to be on, but click it.